Now, this is pretty cool. We're going to go through what Matt here has been working on and building in the background, and this is Alpha Surfers. Matt's been around in the Cardano community for a little while now, and we're going to discover and learn about what he's building and trying to dig into his community side of things. So, Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Great to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Now, we've crossed paths a little bit around the DeFi space on various projects, mostly around the blue shift side of things. So thank you for being a part of that community and joining on there. But I would love to learn a little bit more about you and how you're involved in the Cardano and the crypto space. Can we get a bit of a rundown of how you ventured into crypto?
Definitely. Yeah, my first venture into crypto was kind of just happenstance. So 2015, I started seeing Bitcoin, Ethereum. So I made some investments in Bitcoin and Ethereum around that 2015, 2016 timeframe, and I just never looked at it. I was like, crypto is great. I'll just make an investment and, it should go up. That was the thesis. And
Yeah.
I came, I guess that's what a lot of people are looking at. So I'll mostly trading the stock market, foreign exchange. So in the late 90s, one of my uncles who was a value investor started teaching me about the stock market. And if you were around in the late 90s, like not putting a trade on in the stock market was not an easy thing. But I sat, listened to his tutelage, learned a lot. And then after a few years, another uncle came in and taught me a little bit. He was more on the momentum side. So I went from being a stock market guy, getting into futures a few years after that, starting to hone my day trading skills, teaching other people how to begin in the stock market, started some investment funds, stuff like that. Crypto was something I was like, I'll throw in some fun money if it turns into something great. And I came back in 2021 with those Charles Hoskinson videos. Like they were just phenomenal videos. And I'm like, man, I love Cardano. I love how this looks. The first project I found was Empowa. Fantastic project. They're, building housing in Africa. I thought it was awesome. And I thought to myself, how is Africa going to look in 30 years with the blockchain coming in, doing all this stuff? I saw the vision immediately. I sold all my Bitcoin and Ethereum, went straight into Cardano.
Wow,
and
okay.
yeah, just everybody I met in Empowa was so cool. Like I loaned somebody one of my founding member NFTs so they could be part of the cell. Just because I'm in America, I couldn't be a part of it. Thanks American economy. But
Yeah.
and it was great. Other people did it too, and they returned to NFTs. Just really classy people. I just love that community. And then getting into Cardano, I started seeing the normal stuff that you see in traditional finance. 95% of people lose money and leave within the first year. Started seeing rug pulls, and I thought to myself, I saw some DAOs come out and they move really slowly. And I thought to myself, well, I've been investing for a long time. I've, worked with millionaires and billionaires and traded their money. I can come in, start a project. We can run more efficiently than some other projects that are trying to do this. And, make money, do a return, and return that back to the holders. Rather than minting 5, 10, 15 times, we mint once, return money to holders. That was kind of the concept. And, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Also, an educational side, research side. So just a all-around investment club community.
Okay, you might have to explain that one more time. I kind of got the grasp of it. So what exactly were you minting there for the Alpha Surfers?
Right. The Alpha Surfers Prime collection, we're calling it Alpha Surfers Prime, and they're sharks. Reason being is I love the ocean. It's just fantastic. So when I was a kid, my brother and I, one of the themes we read about were sharks and dolphins, because dolphins can kill sharks. As an 8-year-old, that's fascinating.
Yeah, okay.
So just living by the ocean, surfing, boogie boarding, body surfing, anything that has anything to do with water, skiing in the lakes. Um, so that's what Alpha Surfers was really a part of, like my investment knowledge and the love of the ocean. So, sharks, I really did love that. I incorporated a lot of like the 1990s style because I was a teenager in the 90s, and that like the Ninja Turtles, that gritty vibe, the
Yeah. Okay.
I just love all of that. So I spent a lot of time on the art, even though the art really isn't that important. To me, it is. So I wanted a standalone NFT where the art's super important with the utility to back it up.
Gotcha, gotcha. And the utility, yeah, can you explain the utility exactly? You kind of
Yes.
glossed over it a little bit earlier.
I glossed over a little bit because I figured we'd circle back to it. So the utility, if you own an Alpha Surfer Prime NFT, there's only going to be 1,129, and that's it in that particular collection. So that collection is the only collection we're going to have that's going to give a distribution, and we're going to do that quarterly. So we made our first mint in March. So we're minting small every time. We've had 4 phases already. We've minted 295 NFTs so far. And we're keeping it small so that way we can mint and then show some results. And then mint and show some results. So right now we're up about 40% on our funds, on our treasury funds. And every quarter starting at the end of Q1 2024, we're going to start distributing that. So if you hold Alpha Surfer NFT, you're going to get 50% distribution. And then we have other tiers on top of that. So you'll be able to get up to 70%. And, I like that because it gives us enough skin in the game. We're able to make money, keep some. And then when we distribute it, it allows our members to actually be able to collect some. We're going to, some of those tiers, if they do a little bit of research, then they'll be able to get an additional little bit. So I think that helps us build as a community and really grow. And then we have an education piece attached to that. So if you have an NFT, you get access to the education and more advanced education. We might make it so you have to hold a couple NFTs. And we've already done a lot like crypto, DeFi, how to trade liquidity pool investing, how you actually make money with that. Because it's kind of intricate. So I wanted to really dive deep in that and show people, talk about Forex. I'm going to talk about trading, psychology. I'm going to talk a lot about that, mostly like neuroscience type stuff, how to build a skill faster, how to replace a skill with another skill, how to increase your awareness, increase your focus, stuff like that, like life stuff that really actually matters. And that's one thing that I have never found before. Because in the traditional world, if you want to have education, you have to be niche based. Whereas with NFTs, I can open up the spectrum and just kind of go for everything. So that's one thing I really do love about NFTs.
All right. Really cool. Okay. So I've got a really good and better understanding of all this now. So essentially, you're minting these NFTs, you're raising those funds. You guys are going to use that for trading and then distribute the funds back to the NFT holders of those various collections based on the amount or rarity of the NFTs, correct?
Yes.
Great,
yes.
Great. Okay. Now, what I don't understand there is if they're buying something and then expecting a return on it, is that seen as a security?
It's not, because we're not guaranteeing them a return. We say if we actually make a profit, we'll give it to you. Now, based upon my experience and the law of large numbers, what's the probability of that happening? I think it's very high. But we're not guaranteeing them, like, we're going to give you 100 ADA per quarter. We're going to give you 200 ADA. So none of that's guaranteed. On the side of that, I actually have an investment fund, and people can invest in that. And mostly that's for projects projects can come in and invest, and a little portion of that will go to that NFT collection, the Alpha Surfer Prime. Um,
Gotcha. Okay. Now, I'd like to put you to the test because
okay.
you talked about your background here as a trader investor and learning from relatives and whatnot. So, can you give us 3 tips as a trader in regards to what to look out for in a project, or maybe timing your trades, or something about emotion as well? I know I'm sitting there staring at the screen, wondering, when should I execute this? Do I do this now? Maybe it will go up a bit more. Maybe I'll just wait. Maybe, oh, okay, no, it's all gone downhill now. Okay, I have to wait for the next bull cycle. So, can you give us
I
some
feel you.
tips?
All right. So there's the tips. I guess that is a little broad based. If I take Freya, for example, Freya just launched a little bit ago, like, I don't know, a matter of hours ago.
It's that
Um,
meme coin one.
yeah, it's a meme coin. Somebody said it was similar to Banana, which I don't know anything about. Uh, but if you know, maybe. Basically, I just look at the hype around it. Are people excited about it? Are people minting it? And then one thing cool about Dex Hunter is you can actually see the orders. And I actually saw some big orders going off, like someone's putting in, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 ADA, you know, uh, just big orders. So I ended up jumping in. I had my slippage too low, and I had the perfect entry. My slippage was too low, so I had to increase that slippage and put in another order, and ended up getting in, getting out. Went in with only 1,000 ADA. Should have probably went in with more, but I turned that 1,000 ADA into 2,500 ADA. So made 1,500 ADA on a trade that lasted an hour, 2 hours, something like that. Um, but that's one thing I look at with projects. Like I'll usually look at the team, but in this case, Freya, I just looked at the hype that was around it. But that's with NFT projects. I look at the team. As far as with the trading is, I kind of look at levels, and I usually play a probability game. But the main thing I always tell people is you can always re-enter. So if you get out of a trade, you can always re-enter. Don't feel bad taking profits. A lot of people I know, they take profits and the trade keeps going and they're like, oh man, I should have kept that. That will kill you. I think Tony Robbins said it best, you could shit all over yourself, but that's not helpful. But that's one thing that was important to me is you can always re-enter the trade. You don't always need to be in a trade. I think that was something really important I had to learn. So yeah, don't always have to be in a trade. Don't have to trade every day. You can always re-enter if you do take profits, and then watch levels. Like right now, the Australian dollar is starting to break out of a range against the U.S. dollar, which is kind of cool since you're from Australia.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite currencies to trade.
There's some really good tips there, and thank you so much for that. I'll put them in a summary in the show notes for other people that are coming in so they can read over them. There's one that you need to explain to me, though. What is levels? You say to watch the levels. What exactly is that?
Basically, just support resistance levels. That's kind of what I look for. So I use a couple different things, but I use like forecasting tools, and I can usually look at stuff and say, okay, well, this is likely to go a little further. This is likely not to go that far. But yeah, I mostly like to look at support and resistance levels. Like when I said the Australian dollar is breaking out against the U.S. dollar, that's a level. It's just kind of pushing up above that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Now I've got to learn. Now I'm watching those levels. What do I do? What action do I take? What should I take at those points? Do I buy? Do I sell? I guess if it's breaking out of past a certain resistance, I should be selling.
Well, if it's different. You have different strategies. So, like, let's say you have a support level and it comes down to it. Usually, you want to buy that instead of buying up here. You want to buy like at that level, so your risk is very, very small. If it's breaking out, that means it's it's breaking above a certain level, and that's usually more aggressive. Like I was in it from a little bit lower. I'm just watching it break out, so I'm not entering right now. I'm more of a pullback trader, so I'm looking for if it comes down, I want to buy it. If it goes up, I want to sell it. That's kind of like what I'm mostly looking for, just so I can keep risk very very small. That's one thing I think is super important when people do try to invest is your goal, your number one goal isn't to make money. Your number one goal is to not lose the money that you have. Yeah. And that's
So
counterintuitive to
true.
everything. Yeah.
I think for a lot of these projects, I do see the hype, and I personally do feel the FOMO. And I'm looking at the charts, and I'm seeing, oh, this is just skyrocketing out of control. Like, do I buy now or not? Sometimes I feel like I really should, but I just sit back and I wait for people to get bored of the project and the hype disappears for that point in time, and I really just may look at buying at those points, but then will the project come back? I just don't know. It's so hard to predict these things.
That's difficult. Yeah. And that's what I try to look at, like longevity, like the team. How is the team? Like, do you believe in the team? Would you want to hang out with the team? And do you believe that they can follow through with their vision? And if you believe they can follow through, usually that means when it does pull back, you can get in. With NFTs, it's a little different because with NFTs, it's good because anyone can start an NFT project, but that's also a really bad thing. Anybody can start an NFT project. So, like, do they have business experience? Do they have common sense? That, uh, but yeah, all those factors do come into play with NFT projects. Luckily, with Cardano, most of the ecosystem type projects, most of them have been really good. Like people come in, they build, and it's just been a pleasure to be a part of.
I'm just always surprised with some of these NFT projects how they sell out. Like, I've never heard of them. I don't know these
Yeah,
people. They somehow sell a really subpar NFT project and manage to sell out. And then Rug,
yeah,
it's unbelievable. I'm doing my own NFT project, and I'm finding it so hard to sell. And I'm not here to
mhm,
Rug, so I'm here for good. But
exactly.
I just
Yeah,
don't know how it works. It's incredible.
it's really crazy. Like they just go on this marketing kick, drive a lot of hype and FOMO, and people see other people coming in, and just it's terrible. But that's one reason why alpha surfers, we're minting in very small phases, and we're doing whitelist only. Like we've never had anything for the public, and we're doing that for a reason because everybody, not everybody, but most projects are very hype oriented. They go out, they market, they talk about all these crazy stats. I'm not going to name any names, but just these stats that don't make sense. Like, oh, this market is $1.9 trillion. We're capturing 2% of it. Okay, how are you doing that? That doesn't matter. Look at this.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of them seem to be. And that's one reason we're going this way. We're minting very, very slowly. But about a month ago, I started seeing other groups like starting to throw shade at us, making fun of alpha surfers. And I'm like, well, that's great. People are finding out about us, but now I need to start coming out and marketing, getting my narrative out. So, it's cool and flattering, but then you're kind of forced to, kind of start marketing and such.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is a lot of it. You do have to get out there. You do have to put yourself in front of the camera. I learned the hard way as well, joining the crypto space and starting a stake pool. If you're not visible, if people don't know who you are, they're not going to stake to you. They're not going to understand and build trust. So it's a whole just part of the game.
Yeah, that's true. And it takes a long time to really get your name out there and like talk with people. But yeah, we're making a lot of awesome contacts in the space. I've made a lot of great friends. I include you in that. We did meet at Blue Shift a number of months ago. And I do really like that project. I'm excited to see everything else that's coming out with that. But yeah, it's Cardano. I just really enjoy everything that I've well, except for the rugs, everything else that I've experienced.
Yeah, naturally. All right.
Yeah.
So I've got two more things to ask you. First off, how can people join your community? Where should we go to join Alpha Surfers and find these NFTs that you're talking about?
Okay. The best mode of communication is through Discord. So we have our Twitter, Alpha Surfers. We have our website, alphasurfers.com. And then the Discord. The Discord is linked on the Twitter and the website. We just did a light paper a couple days ago, and that's basically just to allow people a reference point so they can come in and go through it. We have that same information on the Discord, but the Discord, especially the private Discord, there's so many channels that it's easy to get locked in, and that's one thing I'm trying to do is constantly try to improve the navigational ability of the Discord. But yeah, Discord is the best method of communication.
All right, I'll make sure all the links are down below in the show notes and all referenced there for everyone that's wanting to learn a little bit more about Alpha Surfers. Now, my very last question here, what's your top 3 picks then in the Cardano ecosystem and why?
Top 3 picks in the Cardano ecosystem. I do love the Hunt token. Dex Hunter, everything Melon's doing over there, he's just knocking out of the park. He's a class act guy. So I love everything he's doing over there. When he first minted, we went in heavy, bought a little over 100,000 tokens. When it went up, we flipped half of them, made a profit, and now we have like 51,000 tokens for the Alpha Surfers treasury. So that's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of Optum Finance. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name, so I don't want to, say anything that's not right.
I don't know either, but I know who you're talking about.
But yeah, I like him. He seems like a very smart guy. Just knows what he's doing. The guy behind LinFi is a really good protocol, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Butane's going to come out with. Like I just feel like they might do something big. But yeah, I guess if I had to narrow it down, I'd probably say at this moment, Hunt, Optum, and number 3. It's so hard to pick. Oh man, number 3. How do you pick it? Because I like so much. Liquid Finance is doing some cool things. I guess I'll just go with Blue Shift because they're an X factor. Like not many people know about them, but I feel that they're going to be doing something. And the guys behind it, they impress me. So I'll use them as my dark horse. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Very interesting indeed. So we've got some interesting tokens there anyway. Thank you for mentioning Blue Shift as well. It's always appreciated. But sure. Matt, it's awesome having you on the podcast and talking through a little bit about what you're bidding around Alpha Surfers, your trading history and background, your tips as well, and your top 3 picks or top 4 or 5-ish. So I'll put them all in the show notes so everyone can reference them, and we'll see how they go in a few months' time. Maybe I'll get you back on to talk about market conditions, market updates, and see how you guys are going overall.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, thank you.
All right, awesome, Matt. We'll chat again soon.
Awesome. Been a pleasure.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.